Watch this.
We checked the city's inbox, and residents are raving about the Rainbow Rebellion at Boise City Hall. We're finally reading some of those messages for and against Boise's stand against Idaho's new flag ban. Idaho's water issues made it all the way to the nation's capital, where Idaho's congressional delegation is asking to clear the drain so the aquifer can fill up faster.
And we just wanted to leave it to the music.
Above ground and on Idaho's water, a Colorado band is floating for food and offering folks some folk music for it.
In times like these, when there are so many who seek to divide, we have a choice. We can succumb to the division or do what we have always done. Come together to care for each other and for this city. I am inspired.
Lauren McLean just wrapped up her 2025 State of the City address just moments ago, and in it she talked about housing, both affordable and those without, the foothills, city parks, property tax relief, and the economy, or rather the uncertainty of it. Mayor McLean said she was once asked what it was like to lead Idaho's largest city in such times of division, need, and decreasing resources. As she said, all happens together, all of it, by focusing on our North Star.
For me, for Boise, that North Star, it's people. Caring for people. Ensuring we are a city for everyone. Protecting this place that we call home.
And we listened to the entire speech and kind of combed through it as well, looking for any sort of mention about the flag that's flying outside Boise City Hall. But that was about as close as Mayor McLean came to mentioning the recent back and forth with state leaders about the pride flag. The pride flag still flying outside City Hall, by the way, after the city declared it an official flag of Boise. Doing so allowed the city to skirt the recently enacted statewide flag law, which limits what flags can fly on government property. That'd be the U.S. flag, the state flag, military flags, or official flags of the city. In Boise's case, that would now be the city flag, the blue one, with the capital on it, the organ donor flag, and the pride flag, something a lot of people seem to be in favor of based on an early drop of emails to the city. Right after Mayor McLean made it clear the pride flag would still fly, since it has flown outside City Hall for more than a decade, we wanted to know what kind of correspondence the city has received. From April 3rd, when the law went into effect, through April 25th, the day we asked for it. And we got that first drop yesterday. And after combing through to find the unique emails, now the unique emails, what we're talking about, we found there were 43 in favor of flying the flag and just 7 against. This doesn't include the 1,300 plus form emails sent by oneclickpolitics.com, which is a one-click site set up by the Idaho Family Policy Center. Between April 10th and April 14th, 1,317 clicked a link that sent this generic email to the city. It has come to my attention that despite the passage of House Bill 96, which went into effect on April 3rd, actually, the bans pride flags from being flown on city property. The city of Boise continues flying that pride flag at City Hall. Our state legislature has already made it clear pride flags have no place on government flagpoles. Please remove the pride flag from City Hall immediately. So that was a kind of a form letter that people could click on, and it goes right to the city and the city council. We don't know if any of those people, though, live in Boise or even in Idaho. There also doesn't seem to be a one-click option for those in favor of the flag. So those that are had to write their own email. And here's a small sampling of the 43 in favor and 7 against. Like this one from Steve. We do not need a pride flag on a flagpole or any other display to show representation for a minority group in our communities. Whoever thinks this is a great idea clearly is doing this from a personal point of view. Flying the pride flag tells me the mayor favors that community above all others. However, Joe, from the other side and with the military and pilot perspective, knowing there are some LGBTQ pilots at Mountain Home Air Force Base that I consider pals, I salute you in standing firm against this bigotry by those who can't handle a dissenting flag. It's going to take all of us to fight this new pandemic in our midst. Joe says you deserve your own A-10 Warthog at this rate. Nessa asked the city to not succumb to pressure from people asking you to remove the pride flag. So many LGBTQIA folks here need to know the city has their backs. I'm writing to let the mayor and the staff know I support the pride flag being flown at City Hall, said Sarah. As the state legislature tries to limit city government's ability to choose what flags to fly, this good trouble is exactly what we as a city should be doing. Heather has the same sentiment. As a native Boisean, I'm so proud to see the pride flag still flying. This is our city, and nobody from the outside should be able to tell us how it should run. But Thomas, a concerned citizen, wants to know why the city is disobeying the law, pointing out the pride flag is not on the approved list of flags. Of course, this concern comes from a citizen of Salmon, Idaho. Burke and Gilberto have lived in Boise for the last 14 years and would like to make it their home forever. As a gay married couple, they said, "Thank you for not giving in to the bigotry of the Idaho legislature." And Amy thanks the mayor for still flying the flag. It means more than she can say. It's a scary time in America for the LGBTQ+ community, especially in Idaho, she said. She's lived in Boise for 20 years and loves how welcoming it is. But it's been difficult to see how many hurtful and hateful laws and bills coming out of our state recently. And finally, seeing the flag remain, wrote Reese, despite the new state law, is a powerful symbol of Boise's commitment to inclusivity and support for everyone in our community. Thank you for standing firm on this important issue. We were told there are more emails to go through, and those should be sent our way shortly. And if that ratio that we talked about, that 43-7 of those in favor flying the flag changes, we'll let you know if that happens. What won't change, though, at least not now, the pride flag flying outside Boise City Hall. And as we learned in letters from the Attorney General, the Ada County Sheriff, and well, earlier in person this week from Governor Little, it likely won't change until the legislature convenes next year and maybe decides if it wants to amend that law with some sort of enforcement mechanism. Well, you've heard us talk a lot about Idaho water here on the 208 over the last year or so. Who has the rights to it, who's at risk of losing it, and how the state is trying to fix how that is decided. Idaho has prided itself on being able to control its own destiny, especially when it comes to water rights. But sometimes you got to go to the next level. Idaho Congressman Russ Fulcher says the feds, well, they're the ones who are slowing down the state's process of water access, which is why he has a new bill. And it's basically a legal plumber meant to clear out the federal clogs and keep the recharge water flowing through existing canals. As Hunter Funk explains, water leaders say it's crucial to be able to meet the new goals for recharging that aquifer, and it could be a lifeline for that aquifer.
Your home and your crops depend on the Eastern Snake River Plain aquifer. It's like an underground reservoir, supporting more than 1 million acres of farmland and providing water to cities, small towns, and private wells. This is Wesley Hipke.
I'm here today testifying on behalf of the Idaho Water Resource Board
About the need for less red tape when it comes to Idaho's water. The state has spent millions on what's called managed recharge. It takes excess surface water, especially in wet years, and sends it back to the aquifer. Oftentimes, the most efficient way to do that is through existing irrigation canals.
A significant number of the irrigation canals cross lands owned by the U.S. Bureau of Land Management. These canals have existing right-of-ways with the BLM. Using this existing infrastructure is hugely beneficial for Idaho to reach its goals in stabilizing the aquifer.
But here's the holdup. Even though Congress passed a law in 2020 saying water can flow through existing easements for recharge, BLM isn't interpreting it that way. They're requiring new permits and right-of-way applications for canals that already exist. That's where House Bill 331 comes in.
The amendments to the act being sought in the legislature would address BLM's erroneous interpretation that the act does not apply to third parties. The amendment will enable the board to more efficiently implement its managed aquifer recharge activities and reach its goal for the benefit of the citizens of the state of Idaho.
Representative Fulcher introduced the bill to clarify the law and fix what state water managers say is a misinterpretation that's slowing down a critical program.
How would Congressman Fulcher's legislation clarify existing law?
Yeah, to get an easement in the past, it's taken me approximately 2 years, to do that.
And because he can't predict whether it will be a wet or a dry year, getting access needs to be a lot faster.
Every year we don't have that in place presents a problem.
The Twin Falls Canal Company is in support of the bill. Their general manager says, quote, We believe H.R. 331 is a good step toward helping to ensure our farmers get the water they need and protecting the vital eastern Snake Plain aquifer for generations to come. Representative Mike Simpson said on X that he was an original co-sponsor of the bill. And removing bureaucratic barriers to carry out aquifer recharge projects is a win for Idaho and local leaders. Fulcher is hoping this will speed up the water replenishment process. The bill has passed the House and now heads to the Senate. And now that it goes to the Senate, we checked with our senators. Of course, Mike Crapo agreeing, saying this will restore local decision making, and he looks forward to the Senate taking up this, quote, common sense solution. And we have Senator Risch mirroring that message, saying the federal government should make it easier, not harder, for local officials to conduct critical aquifer recharge efforts.
It's just unfortunate it requires a law to mandate an interpretation or to change an interpretation of something that already exists.
Right. It was something that they thought was going to be easy. We'd be set. We'd be ready to go. And now they're like, oh, we need something. We need amendments to be able to make it happen.
We'll see how this moves forward in the Senate. Thank you very much, Hunter. And of course, we have a lot more information on Idaho's most valuable asset. You can find our water rights special that we did over the summer on KTVB Plus. That'd be last summer, by the way. All you have to do is search for Liquid Assets, the fight for Idaho's water. If you don't have a KTVB Plus, all you have to do is download it. It's free. It's easy to do. You can watch it on your TV for free. Well, more from Representative Mike Simpson. He's throwing his name in on another attempt to help Idaho agriculture. He's reintroducing an act that would help farmers fill positions using legal immigrant workers. Abby Davis tells us more about that and other top headlines from across the 208 in today's 411.
Brian Koberger was in an Ada County courtroom today for his last hearings before his trial. He's accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students almost 3 years ago. It was a standard pretrial conference. The overarching theme was the amount of publicity surrounding the case, mostly focusing on logistics of jury selection and the trial, including that the trial will be live streamed on the court's website. Jury selection will start on July 30th, followed by opening statements August 11th. Did you feel it? A 3.0 magnitude earthquake was reported about 5 miles north of Chalice last night. Other earthquakes hit between Elko and Winnemucca. Those ranged in size from 2.8 to 3.9. Representative Mike Simpson is taking another try at fixing the agriculture workforce crisis. He is reintroducing the Farm Workforce Modernization. The act reforms the H-2A visa program to expand access to legal immigration workforce for agricultural producers. If you want to learn more, check out our farm worker immigration reform special right now on KTVB Plus. Just download on your TV, search the 208 Farming Future, and watch for free. And that's the 411 on the 208. I'm Abby Davis.
It's a journey that literally puts the phrase singing for your supper into play. A Colorado band is trading everything familiar to float 3 weeks on the Snake River. No food, no money, no safety net, nothing except the clothes on their back and the instruments in their hands. to get them through it. Aspen Shumpert caught up with them in Homedale, jumped on board on their last stop in Idaho before they floated over the border to Oregon to see how rolling the dice as they roll on down the river is working out.
Most river trips start with the same ritual, loading up food, water, maybe even some camping gear.
Here's Banjo. Here's Banjo.
But this one's different.
Every little dollar warms us up.
What if you brought $0?
We don't bring any food or money to start the journey. We say we're going to go from point A to point B. We're going to rely on music. Sounds like we've all had enough, and it sounds like
Meet the Colorado band, A Brother's Fountain.
we call it campfire folk. And sometimes it's campfire folk where you're really just chilling around the fire and kind of thinking about the deep things of life, watching the embers float into the stars. Sometimes it's campfire folk where you're drinking whiskey and wrestling your friends in the dirt. So it runs the gamut between rowdy and soft.
They are going with the flow, literally.
We want to break the mold. We want to break the box that we all live in. We all have this routine, this kind of day-to-day thing, and we want to, do something different, do something weird, something that catches people's imagination.
For 3 weeks, they're testing whether or not their sounds can keep them afloat.
We trade music for all provisions and kind of put music to the test and the power of music to bring people together.
Their pick? Rafting 120 miles of the Snake River from Melba, Idaho to Huntington, Oregon.
Multiple towns along the river that we could float. It's not dammed, that's safe to swim in, doesn't have too many rapids to where we're losing our instruments and guitars and stuff. And this stretch of river ticked all the boxes.
Stopping at campgrounds and RV parks along the way, betting on striking the right chord with strangers.
We were all kind of nervous because this is a little more remote, and even being on the river, we've had to hitchhike or catch a ride into town to get to people to offer music to.
It's something that gets you out of your comfort zone in places you wouldn't be otherwise, and shows you that even strangers will throw you a lifeline.
The first day was so sad. We had no snacks, no motivation to play music. It was just kind of a sad sunbathing float. Day one, we were hungry, borderline starving.
But the rest of the journey has a different melody.
We traded a song for a catfish, which we cooked for dinner. Day two onward, we were able to kind of slowly amass. Okay, we got a bag of rice, split it up. We got a donut, we split it in 7 pieces.
The current now flowing in their favor.
We went into Melba and did the farmer's market, and all of the makers kind of ended up sending us home with stuff. So we had sourdough, we had homemade jams, all of this really, sweet pastries.
Making a splash at local bars and even in some front yard.
We have plenty of food, plenty of whiskey. A guy last night just gave us, I think 60 beers. A lot of those are gone already. We've really been just welcomed with open arms by the whole state on the internet, and as the locals have poured in, and people pulling over on the side of the road saying, "Are you that band on TikTok?" We thought we'd be a lot more hungry on this journey, but it turns out all the local community has showed up, believed in us. Yeah, it's just been incredible. I mean, the small town feel, the small town communities there's something special. There's a special spark there, and just folks are just so kind, so warm and welcoming.
Between the performances and paddling, inspiration is finding rhythm.
We float, we fish, take turns on the paddling, but we do have all the instruments handy and ready to grab. We're writing songs.
Usually somebody's got something that just feels good and right, and we all want to jump on top of it and be a part of it. It's like, oh, I want to be on that song.
It's almost like time slows down, especially when it's like a very meaningful performance, like this one with you guys.
But their floating studio is composing more than just songs.
The grander vision of this is not about being hungry or being broke. It's more about connecting with people, and we just wanted to leave it to the music. Do people value this? Is this something that serves a community to come in and bring some songs to folks and kind of brighten their day?
What started as an only music social experiment revealed the true currency of human connection.
We did not expect kind of this local Snake River love, and so that's been really special already. All we need to survive with music and trading music is people.
They started with literally nothing and now have more than enough groceries or food to get them through the trip. So rather than giving them more food, if people want to support, they are asking to support their Kickstarter that will help support the documentary they are making about this trip. You can find all of that on abrothersfountain.com as well as on our website, ktvb.com. Now, there are some holes in the rest of their trip. They're going to go all the way to Huntington, Oregon. Next stop is Nyssa. And they're going to then go back to Idaho in Weiser and actually stay on someone's farm that saw them on social media. So
yeah, because they got to get through the dams in order to get to Huntington.
I don't think they said no dams, but maybe I'm wrong.
Is that where the holes are? They got to go.
Maybe. Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
How are they going to get home from there?
There is a car at the very end of the trip that they'll be able to get back in and go all the way back to Colorado.
Because that's going to be a tough paddle if they have to go back upriver.
Yeah.
You know? And as I said, getting so much stuff, to borrow a phrase, they're going to need a bigger boat with more stuff. Exactly. All right. Thanks, Aspen.
Well, we've been enjoying a pretty nice Thursday out there, helped in big part by reduction in those winds that have been howling for the last couple of days. Still coming in at a pretty good clip east of Boise, but for the Treasure Valley, anywhere from 5 to 15 mile per hour sustained winds, much improved over the last couple of days. Wind gusts for the next couple of hours could still reach the 20 mile per hour mark, but should diminish quite a bit after sunset. And wind tomorrow, not a big headline, though we do have some precipitation that will work its way in early tomorrow ahead of a much stronger system that will impact your weekend plans. Still, though, in the valleys today, we're in the mid-60s for Boise and Twin Falls. Some clouds over the mountains, but still pretty pleasant. We're in the mid-60s right now across most of the Snake Plain with those blue skies out there. So pretty quiet again until this evening, and then we'll start seeing some clouds moving in early tonight and then early tomorrow morning. This system, which is kind of the opening act to the much stronger system that will come in on Saturday, that will bring a quick hitting round of rain to the Treasure Valley. I think most of it's wrapped wrapped up before lunchtime. So your morning commute tomorrow, you could put those windshield wipers to use briefly. But then Friday afternoon, the clouds will start clearing. We'll hit the mid-60s and we'll see some sunshine. So tomorrow's rain, not a day spoiler necessarily, but in the morning, you might just want that hooded jacket. Upper 40s is what we'll wake up to tomorrow. We'll land in those mid-60s across the Treasure Valley, low 60s on deck for the Magic Valley tomorrow, and showers could linger a little bit longer in the day for the mountains. We will be wet and soggy, especially Saturday afternoon, cool and windy on Sunday. Finally, next week, we start rebounding with more sunshine.
All right, Melissa wrote in to say the flag's colors and design are a reflection of the values of its community. The mayor's stance of inclusivity is the right kind of trouble to be in. I am happy to live in a city whose message is that we welcome everyone. Meanwhile, Kip says fixation on flags and what they stand for, local control is the Republican mantra. Just leave it alone. No dams, Brian. You've lived here long enough to know that along the Snake River. I don't spend a lot of time in Huntington. I couldn't remember if it was on which side of Baker City it is on, the Hell's Canyon complex. I don't spend a lot of time in Oregon. I'll admit it.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.